All right, let's get right into it. There is a huge debate happening in the K-pop world right now, and it's all centered on one big question. Is the new fifth generation of idols launching us into a brand new golden age, or is it all just kind of boring? It's a tough question, so let's break it down.
So, let's not beat around the bush. This one sentence right here is the heart of the whole conversation. You see it everywhere, on Twitter, on Reddit, in YouTube comments. Fifth gen is boring. It's blunt for sure, but it's a feeling that seems to be resonating with a lot of fans, especially those who've been around for a while. So where is this coming from? Why is this sentiment?
Okay, so this feeling doesn't just come out of nowhere, right? To really understand why some people feel this way, we have to look back. We have to compare what's happening now to what many fans consider K-pop's most recent golden era, because it feels like a key ingredient from that time has just vanished.
And this right here really lays it all out. When you think back to the third generation, with titans like BTS, Blackpink, EXO, there was this electricity in the air for every single comeback. It was an event. Even if you weren't a diehard fan of a group, you knew they were dropping something new. The hype was unavoidable. Now the critique is that energy, that shared excitement, is just missing. Comebacks are starting to feel less like these huge cultural moments and more like just another song dropping on a Tuesday, quickly getting lost in the shuffle.
So if that excitement is gone, what's causing it? Well, a lot of people are pointing their fingers at one specific thing, a crucial, almost magical ingredient that might be in seriously short supply these days, and that is star quality.
Now, star quality isn't just about being good-looking or a great dancer. It's so much more than that. It's that it factor, that spark. It's the charisma that just grabs you through the screen, the unique aura that makes you remember one person out of a group of 12. It's what makes you watch a fan cam on repeat, not just because the choreography is cool, but because you can't take your eyes off of that person.
And you know it when you see it, right? Think about watching a Blackpink music video for the first time and just being floored by Jennie's confidence or Lisa's stage presence. Or the way Kai from EXO can command an entire stadium with just a look. It's that captivating power that sticks with you long after the music stops. And the feeling among critics is that this specific magnetic quality is becoming a lot harder to find in the newest generation of idols.
And let's be really clear here. The argument isn't that new idols aren't talented or that they aren't absolutely stunning, because they are. The critique is really aimed at the industry machine itself. There's a belief that in today's world of super short TikToks and viral visuals, companies are laser-focused on finding idols who are, immediately striking on camera. But the worry is that this comes at a cost. The cost of nurturing that deeper, more authentic star power that actually creates legends.
And this feeling of a missing it factor? Well, it gets way more intense when you add another huge problem into the mix. The sheer, overwhelming number of new groups debuting all the time.
I mean, think about it. It used to be a really big deal when a major company announced a new group. It felt special, rare. You'd wait for it, you'd get excited. But now, it feels like you can't scroll through your feed without seeing another debut announcement, another new set of faces. That constant flood of content means that a debut is just not the special event it used to be.
And this is the inevitable result of that oversaturation. When you have so many groups flooding the market at once, it becomes incredibly difficult for any one of them to truly stand out. A concept or a sound that might have felt really fresh and new a couple of years ago now feels kind of repetitive, because odds are 5 other groups are doing something really similar. And pretty soon, everything just starts to blur together into one big sea of sameness.
But of course, you can talk about star quality and concepts all day, but at the end of it, K-pop is about one thing, the music. And this, my friends, is where that boring label really starts to bite. So here's the million-dollar question. And look, anyone who just says, yep, it's all the same, is probably oversimplifying it. The reality is way more complicated than that. The issue isn't that every single song is a carbon copy of another. The problem for many listeners is that a huge chunk of the mainstream music is just playing it incredibly safe.
And this table here really hits the nail on the head. You absolutely have groups out there like Kiss of Life or Boy Next Door who are putting out stuff that feels fresh and takes some real creative risks. But then you have this other, much bigger category, good but boring. These are songs that are perfectly fine. They're well produced, the vocals are good, but they don't take any chances. They sound like a slightly watered-down version of a hit song we've already heard a million times. They're not bad, not at all, but they're not memorable either.
So, is that it? Is the fifth generation just a wash of safe music and pretty faces? Well, not so fast. The counterargument to all of this says that if you believe that, you're really only looking at the surface. And this is the absolute core of the other side of the debate. The idea is that the boring label gets thrown around because a lot of fans, and this is totally natural, are only paying attention to the biggest groups. You know, the ones from the huge companies, the ones topping the charts. And if that's the only slice of the industry you're seeing, yeah, I can see why it might feel a little repetitive. But the moment you decide to dig just a little bit deeper, a whole new world opens up. You start finding all these fifth-gen groups who are experimenting, who are taking risks, who are genuinely trying to offer something new to the conversation. Groups like Kiss of Life, Lucymbal, or Next might not be the biggest names on the block just yet, but they are proof that creativity and innovation are still alive and well in this generation. You gotta be willing to look for it.
Okay, so we've got these two very different stories, right? On one side, this feeling of repetition, of missing that special spark. And on the other, this call to look past the mainstream and find the hidden gems. So how do we figure this all out? Well, maybe the real answer comes from just putting this whole generation into context.
Let's just be real for a second. The third generation was not just another era of K-pop. It was a global phenomenon. Groups like BTS and Blackpink didn't just have hits, they created massive culture-shifting moments that went way beyond music. Trying to replicate that level of impact, it's not just hard, it's pretty much impossible. They set a bar so high it's in the stratosphere. Any new group is going to struggle to measure up to that.
And this timeline, this tells a huge part of the story. The fifth generation is widely considered to have started around 2023. That means, as we're talking right now, it's only been around for a couple of years. A couple of years. In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. We're talking about a generation that's still basically a toddler. We're judging the first few pages of a book that's hundreds of pages long.
And maybe the most important thing to remember is, we have been here before. When the fourth gen was just starting out, people were saying the exact same things, that they were boring, that they couldn't possibly live up to their third gen seniors. But what happened? Over time, those fourth gen groups grew, they evolved, and they totally carved out their own unique identities. They proved the critics wrong, and there is every single reason to believe the fifth gen will do the exact same thing.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Is this new wave of K-pop really and truly lacking something essential? Or are we, as fans, just being a little impatient, passing a final judgment on a generation that hasn't even had a real chance to show us who they are yet? Maybe the most iconic, unforgettable moments of the fifth generation are still just around the corner, waiting for us to give them the time and the space to happen. What do you think?